Hello and welcome to the 6 Pillars of Educational Leadership. My name is Keith Britton. I'm currently a master's student at the American College of Education, and I have, of course, been pursuing my degree in educational leadership. I am building this video because I felt like as a new principal, assistant principal, that I wanted something to help guide us and help show us what things we should focus on. Because we all know that when we first become an educational leader, there are so many things that we're going to have to think about. So what I tried to do is, based off my experiences, I figured out 6 things that I truly feel are going to be the most important for us to start discussing and try to build when we get into those positions. A little bit about me. I've been teaching physical education for the last 7 years. All of my experience has been at middle schools. However, this year, I just got a job at a brand new school, and so I had a really neat opportunity to build our PE program and help build the school from the ground up. So it's been a really cool experience, especially when I've been looking at it through this view of educational leadership and how to build a program. In my years of teaching, I have already had a ton of opportunities to get various leadership opportunities, whether it have been sport coaching, becoming an assistant principal for a day, shadowing. In my internship, my last leadership was really supportive, and they allowed me to get probably 2 months worth of internship hours working in their positions. I was the assistant principal, I was the principal, I was the dean of students, and I also had tons of opportunities on leadership teams, whether it have been a department head or team lead. I got to fill in all of those positions. In my last school, we were in turnaround status, so I volunteered to be on the school improvement team, where we wrote the UIP for the school and helped build the direction that we were going to go in order to turn around what was happening. My leaders have been very helpful in encouraging my growth, and they've really challenged me to learn so much throughout this time. So as I kind of previously stated, I'm a student at American College of Education, and this is my final capstone project. My goal for this was to design a video, as I kind of stated, that would help us build a base or a foundation for educational leaders on what we should remember and focus on when we get those jobs. This is all based on my master's program, the research I've done, just the experiences that I've had. So today, I would like to talk about these 6 things that I've called the 6 pillars of educational leadership. As I stated, these are based on the standards and competencies for educational leadership. They're based on my master's program, and they're based on just the individual research that I've done and the experiences that I've had. These are 6 core principles that I truly believe if we employ and we focus on when we first get into this thing we call educational leadership, that I feel we will help build a safe, student-centered learning environment that will foster growth and learning from all of our students. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. The first pillar is building a foundation. This relates to building your foundation for the school in order to begin understanding the direction that you want the school to go. This always starts in one place, with students and the community. When building our foundation as a school, we need to consider what is best for our students and what they need in order to be successful. Remember, your school is a petri dish of different individuals with different strengths, weaknesses, interests, and so on. We need to evaluate the needs of our students and then begin building a vision that will help them succeed. Based off of your vision, you can then create a mission statement that will guide your school in all the decisions that are made. Everything you do should reflect back to your mission as a school. From your mission statement, you can then create smaller goals and benchmarks that will ensure you continue to work towards your vision. By doing these things, you will build a foundation that will allow you to lead all the stakeholders in your organization toward helping their students achieve academic success. Here's an example of a mission statement for my current school, Chinook Trail Middle School. We are a community of lifelong learners who value relationships built on trust. We create collaborative learning environments that cultivate student curiosity, empathy, and risk-taking. Because our students learn through studying real-world issues, they are empowered to seek solutions for future success. Now, what I love about this mission is how they emphasize the importance of the community. They also discuss how they're going to challenge the students and use real-world situations to help students control their own learning. To support this mission, our school designed the following goals. They explain how, as a school, we want to meet our mission by using a design thinking process, which is a structured way to facilitate project-based learning and ignite curiosity in our students. We also wanted to help our students to better understand who they are and how they learn. We're going to help them engage in human-based approach to problem solving, and we're also going to explore urgent social, economic, and environmental issues. Now, the cool thing about these goals, if you guys see, they connect directly back to the mission statement, and it really allows our stakeholders to understand exactly how the school is going to support their students and how we are going to work to meet our mission and vision that we have created. Here's another example from our school. On top of our mission and vision and goals, CTMS went one step further, and we created competencies that we expect every student to gain by the end of their time at our school. These competencies were decided on by dissecting the state standards for a variety of contents and really understanding what the large connections between each of these were. The large ideas that we found were present in the standards were that every student needs to become a communicator, they need to become an innovator, a researcher, a healthy learner, a collaborator, and they need to become an empowered learner. Once again, you see how my school has combined all of these elements and has really developed a foundation of learning that we want to provide to our students. This foundation leads the school and the decisions we make every day. That goes, from our resources that we've purchased to the project-based curriculum we are attempting to pursue. Building this vision and foundation for your school is of the utmost importance, and your students truly deserve it. The second pillar is building solid expectations and an effective learning environment. You've created a vision, you have your mission statement and goals. Now, how are we going to facilitate this in your building? That's where pillar 2 comes in. The items to consider in order to do this are spelled out here. We need to foster a collaborative environment. Everyone needs to work together. We need vertical and horizontal collaboration. We need cross-curricular collaboration. Anytime we can foster collaboration among our staff, students, and community, we will of course foster a healthy learning environment. The second thing we need to set and maintain high expectations. Remember, research shows that if we set high expectations, students will more than likely meet those expectations. But on the other side, if we set low expectations, they're going to meet those as well. So which would you rather your students meet? With setting high expectations, it's also a good idea to build a behavioral matrix. Now, a behavioral matrix can identify many things, such as the behaviors we want to see, incentives for those behaviors, but also a behavioral matrix sets expectations for what will occur if expectations are not met. The reason this is so important is because we need to be transparent as schools. Students should know what is expected of them, and they also want to know what's going to happen if they don't meet those expectations. Sometimes schools will post these in the hallways so they're visible, but you can also simply put it into a handbook and reiterate expectations when necessary. We also should focus on building an environment that teaches 21st century skills. We are in a age where technology is just going crazy. Every student is going to need to be able to use technology and use 21st century skills. They're going to need to be creative, they're going to need to problem solve and collaborate with others. These are all skills that they'll need in the future. So as a school, we need to build a learning environment that reflects those needs. And then also, another piece that we have to concern ourselves with is helping students build a growth mindset. Put simply, this is teaching students that failure is just another opportunity. Of course, students need to understand accountability, but if they make mistakes, that is a teachable moment for us. Why not let students turn in work late and give them multiple opportunities to be successful? Because by doing so, we are helping them learn how to overcome adversity and learn how to get back up when they've been knocked down. That is a powerful skill. And remember, at the end of the day, we want the students to meet the standards. Just because they didn't meet it that specific week doesn't mean we shouldn't continue to give them those opportunities to do so. A great learning environment also requires data-based decision-making, inclusion, and diverse instruction for all students. Using data to inform instruction is such an effective way to understand what is important for students and then use that information to improve our instructional practices for the betterment of their learning. Lastly, we just need to ensure that everyone is included. Every student is a mainstream student. That goes from our ELLs to our students with special needs to every other student within our walls. They are all individuals, they all learn differently, and we simply need to remember that, foster it, and build on it. Here are some awesome examples to help support this pillar. The first is a 7 habits tree. I've seen this used in elementary schools and some secondary schools. It is typically taught to the teachers, and then they model the same behaviors to their students. Within the tree are 7 habits of highly effective people that can set high expectations for students and teachers and teach them habits to be balanced and successful. This could be a great starting point for building expectations for any leader. Here's an example of a behavioral matrix that I built during my master's. As you can see, the simple premise is to help students know what we expect in our school and have transparent expectations if they are not met. Remember, students deserve to know the expectations, and let's all be honest, they really appreciate it. And then we have our 21st century skills. These should simply be standard, but sometimes these skills get left behind, right? Let's help build students who will be effective in the future by building their collaboration skills, building their critical thinking and problem-solving skills, and lastly, ensuring that they are competent with technology by providing multiple opportunities for them to be successful and multiple opportunities for them to get technology in their hands and use it in order to be a more effective student. Here are some of the technologies that I have seen that we can encourage teachers to use and help integrate technology both for our school but also for our students. Class Dojo is one of those for elementary schools. It is awesome for communication with the teachers and the parents, but also helps immensely with classroom management. Teachers can allow students to give themselves points, and it is meant to be a fun way to encourage positive student behavior. Elementary students love it because they can design their own monsters and then they can have fun receiving positive encouragement. Another one that I've seen used is Google Drive, and Google Drive has a variety of different products. They have different technologies that include Google Pages, which helps students build surveys. They have Google Drawings, where students can design and draw products, or they have Google Slides that allow them to build presentations. You can also use some things in Google to make websites and web pages and things like that. Remind is another fantastic parent communication technology. It's easy for parents to sign up for, and it makes it simple and easy for teachers to communicate with their students and their parents. There are several other technologies here that can be used for a variety of different purposes, so feel free to research. Take a look at these and see which ones you like and which ones you would like to implement. And then you can use the technology and help your students do so as well. As an educational leader, we have to understand the importance of having all hands on deck. This means that every individual in the school is crucial in order to create a diverse learning environment that helps all students succeed and learn. Here's an example that I love from my current principal. He's my mentor, and before I worked with him, this was a philosophy that he had at an elementary school, and it shows how he feels everything has a job in order to help students learn. Feel free to pause and check this out. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but he just has an awesome perspective on what everyone's job is within a school in order to help students learn and progress as they can. Moving on to our next pillar of educational leadership, one which I feel is probably one of the most important, is the pillar of building relationships. As Bade states, frequent communication that results in a strong relationship between educators and community residents has significant value in creating a positive learning environment for our students, as well as encouraging them to graduate and lead productive lives as young adults. Educational leaders, we have to be able to build relationships with parents, teachers, students, community members, board members, district officials, and so many more. Principals need to be the social beacon of a school, and with that, we must be willing to dive in and build relationships and trust. We are in the business of relationships, guys, and we need to foster as many relationships as we can to help students succeed. Here are some ideas to make sure that we open schools up and build relationships with all stakeholders. Some things we can do, we can invite parents to PLCs. We can hold community nights where possibly we just bring them in, allow them to experience our school. We can hold parent workshops based on information they would like. For example, if some parents are struggling to help their students with homework, maybe we do a math workshop. Or if parents want to know how they can further encourage their growth of their student at home, we can do a workshop about that. We need to attend community events, show our face, show that we're involved in the community. And we need to open the school to the community as often as we can for, choice nights, exhibitions. We need to bring people in and show them what we are doing as a school. The fifth pillar is PLCs. We have to build professional learning communities in our building that help to continuously improve the way we are teaching our students. Now, what does that look like? Effective PLCs draw upon at least 5 elements, namely shared values and norms, clear and consistent focus on student learning, deprivatization of practices, focus on collaboration, and reflective dialogues. In order to do this, I have found that effective PLCs require these 5 elements. The first is data analysis, which we want to use for decision-making purposes. The second is the search for and application of research-based strategies. The third is requiring or using appropriate resources needed for any adjustments that we're wanting to make in our curriculum or in the way we are teaching. And then the fourth is applicable professional development. Again, I say applicable because it needs to apply to whatever we're doing, right? We don't just want to throw professional development in. It should be planned and organized around what we need. And then number 5, reflection and growth. Remember, this is where we look back. We have to reflect on what we're doing, and we got to keep growing. The process restarts every time we hit this step. Once we reflect, we grow, and we go back to step 1, and we go through it again. I've provided some awesome examples that are current and can really help drive each portion of our PLC. For data, you can use any sort of formative assessment. Checks for understanding, observations. The data simply needs to help you understand what students are and are not understanding. This first step becomes the driving principle of the improvements you need to make to help your students succeed. We need to help our teachers to understand that and to apply it to their classrooms. Then we have two awesome examples of research-based strategies for today's students, and these are project-based learning and inquiry-based learning. These have been shown to intrigue students and build curiosity in the student, which then preps them for learning. I also encourage providing choice. Students should have a variety of ways to show their learning. Project-based learning gives students this opportunity, and you can put a lot of choice into it. There's also a ton of resources out there to help you build your school's program if you wanted to follow and try to pursue project-based learning or inquiry-based learning. And then here are just a few resources that I found for various purposes. What Works Clearinghouse is a bank of strategies for all kinds of grade levels and ages that teachers can take and automatically apply to their classrooms, whereas PBIS World is more of a behavior intervention resource. If a student is struggling with a specific behavior, this resource allows you to click on that behavior and then provides dozens of interventions that can be applied to help support that student. When it comes to professional development, this is my advice. It should always be based on student needs. Our PD should be related to the data we have found on our students and what we can teach our students to help provide a better learning environment. The PD also needs to be relevant for staff and students. I cannot tell you how many times I have personally been a part of a professional development that repeated something that I already knew, or we were simply provided it because it was easy. If you want teachers to buy in and try out what we are trying to get them to, then you have to make it relevant and make it useful to them. And just like we do for our students, provide choice and differentiation. Plan for different activities based on your teacher's experiences, based on interests, things that they are trying to do from the PLCs that they've been in. Look at that and then make a decision on what your professional development should be. And then once we have made a decision and made changes and implemented new research-based strategies, it is time to reflect, rinse, and repeat. Remember, when we become educators, we dedicated ourselves to being lifelong learners. Nobody has ever taught a perfect lesson, and we owe it to our students to continue to try. Reflect on the changes we made. Did they work? What didn't work? And how can we improve? Review the data again. What is it telling you now? Adapt, modify, and repeat. Remember, PLCs are only effective when they are continuous, constant, and a dedicated process of change and evolution. And finally, pillar number 6, remember why you chose this profession. We do what we do because we believe in the future of our students. We became educators because we love kids and we want to help each individual who crosses our path be the best version of themselves. Our students should be at the center of every decision we make, and they are the reason we get up every morning. If you can remember that, then you will truly never work a day in your life. But I am telling you, you will make a difference in thousands of kids' lives. All right. And those are the 6 pillars. Those are the things that I truly feel, based on what I learned in my master's, based on my experiences. These are the things that I think we need to do as educational leaders in order to build the best environment we can. So again, number 1 is build a foundation. We need to have a mission, we need to have a vision, and we need to set goals and benchmarks in order to achieve those goals. We need to build expectations, and we need to create a student-centered learning environment. Everything we do should be related to the kids, and we need to be transparent and let them know, here's what we expect, here's the behaviors we want to see, and this is how we're going to help you get there. Oh, and then we need all hands on deck, right? You have to know, in order to raise a kid, it takes a village. We have to make sure as educational leaders that everyone is involved. Parents, teachers, students, the community, anyone that we can get to help our students grow, we owe it to our students to do that. And then along with that, we need to build relationships, right? With everyone, students, staff, teachers. The more we can build relationships and the more trust we can get, the more likely we're going to see high-level outcomes from everyone that we are trying to help improve. We need to implement a highly effective professional learning communities. Again, we talked about those communities need to be consistent, right? They need to be something that we do day in, day out. We need to look at data. We need to make database decisions. And then we need to reflect on that and help our students improve. And then finally, always remember your students. Everything we do is about those kids. And if we can continue to make decisions for them and make choices that we know are best for them, then you're doing your job and you're doing a fantastic job, right? So, hey, that is it. I hope these 6 pillars are going to be beneficial to you. I hope you can use them as a foundation to build as an educational leader. And perhaps if you get a job, you can always change them and modify it to what fits for you. But I hope it gave you a starting point. And then to all of you out there that are just like me, that are going to be looking for a job soon and are nervous about it, just know that even watching this video, you are a great leader and you are going to change thousands of kids' lives. So thank you, and I hope you guys have a fantastic year.